Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Beacons Are Lit, a Lord of the Rings podcast. I'm the host, Mike Marback, and today I'm joined by Stacy Lyons.
Hey, Mike. Hey, everyone.
Hello, and Matt Garin.
Hey there, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing great. We are back. We are sans Conrad, sans Kelly, for this episode. But Kelly will be rejoining us whenever we record the next one. It's only been 8 months since our last episode, so you can pretty much set your clock to our releases. Is what I'm saying. I apologize to our listeners, our faithful listeners, if there are any faithful listeners. I know we have listeners, but how faithful they are, how faithful can they be, is the real question. When we release,
if we're not faithful to them, how faithful?
Yeah,
us can be,
exactly.
We're sorry.
Yes, apologize for the inconsistency with which we put these episodes out, but we're busy. We got things to do. We got families, we got jobs, we got theaters to run, we got Emmys to win, a whole bunch of things going on. So yeah, that's Kelly Conrad is out there winning Emmys. Her show, Albie's Elevator, which airs on WHYY in Philadelphia and a bunch of other places around the country now through public television. Her show won a regional Emmy. Yes.
I'm trying not to get too noisy for her, but that's very cool. She's on a little side quest now.
Mm-hmm. She's gotten a little too big for us. She doesn't have time for us anymore. She's out there on red carpets, shaking hands, greasing palms. She's in the industry,
kissing babies.
Yeah.
I mean, I for one am happy for her. I know that you're blind with rage, as you mentioned previously.
You're absolutely furious. You never leave the fellowship behind.
Yeah, nobody walks alone.
Problem is,
you gave up a Grammy for this podcast. Am I right? The Grammy opportunity.
Yeah, I gave up the big time Grammy opportunity. You'll never hear about it. I don't even want to talk about it.
It was spoken word, right?
Yeah. It was spoken word. Okay, and it was good, mind you.
I love that you can put like anything on a record, anything as an album, and then just like, all right, it's okay. All right, we got spoken word, sure, yeah, why not? Comedy albums, it's weird to me that those sorts of things are up for Grammys. But hey, more recognition for those artists that are busting their butts doing work, I guess.
Yeah. What else would they get? Are we going to make a whole new award category?
There used to be like
do it for the art and not for the award.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Everyone everywhere is in it for acclaim.
Yeah, there used to be comedy awards, and I'm not talking about the Witouts, which were local to Philadelphia, and I won many. I won many comedy awards. It was comedy awards.
What Fitz version of the Dundies?
It was
He's sitting in front of a wall of persons right now.
Yeah, I'm wearing a jacket made of my winnings. No, I mean, Stark Raven Mad won for best podcast. The improv teams and shows that I created won, but that's not what we're here to talk about. No. We're not here to talk about my big winnings. But all I was saying is that there were American Comedy Awards. There used to be. Yeah, there used to be. I don't know what happened to them. There also used to be horror awards for horror that was hosted by Freddie himself, Robert Englund.
Oh.
Yeah, but they don't do those anymore either.
Are there still Video Music Awards? Is that
they do the movie awards? I don't know if I'm sure the VMAs still happen,
the VMAs just happened. They just happened earlier this month, like a week ago. Yeah,
crazy.
Sabrina Carpenter was there. Chapel Roan was there. I mean, come on, Matt, you're just showing your age at this point.
But I mean, what do you
Chapel
want?
Rohan. All right, so let's get on with this.
Chapel Rohan would be an amazing Halloween costume.
Speaking of Rohan,
as a writer.
Speaking of Rohan, let's go to the news from the Mark, and that is that the War of the Rohirrim trailer was released. Did either of you watch it?
Oh my gosh. No, I didn't watch.
No.
I sort forgot about it.
Wow.
I was like,
Wow.
I'm
I should have
later.
vetted this news. I should have
Should've.
vetted this news.
I don't know where I would see a trailer.
Can we play it right now and do live reactions? Is that good?
Even in
Okay.
the earliest days of the internet, people knew where to find movie trailers, Stacy.
Unless it's popping up in front of me, I'm probably not seeking it out. I don't know.
I'm
Here's the
surprised the algorithm hasn't found you.
I know. I've seen all the VMA videos. How have I not seen this?
Well,
know.
Mike, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I
didn't
like
watch it.
Hated stuff. You
I'm
have
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You
I did. It looks really cool.
yeah.
It looks really cool, but it's another. I can see some people watching this because and whenever there is in the world of geek or nerd or fantasy, whatever you want to call what we are living in
Loser
and
stuff.
podcasting about. What's that?
Like loser stuff. Yeah, God.
You know, the outcasts, the rejects of society.
Yeah. Whenever
Yeah.
there's anything in this loser world that comes out.
Yes.
I mean, I'm like excited for more Rohirrim stuff.
Oh, okay. I'm watching it now. It's animated.
Yeah, that's the thing
I
that's
was-
like me to get excited about is that like as cool as it is to have more Rohirrim stuff, I'm like, I don't know, animated just doesn't excite me as much as live action.
I actually think we should be doing more animated in this day and age. I think CGI has gotten so expensive and it is so leaned on. People lean on it too
I don't know
much
where you're going for.
to make these big expensive productions that have to do well with these, so they get these big cast. I mean, I'm over that. I want to see some things happening that can only be happening with animation.
Yeah. What I was going to say a moment ago is that whenever it comes to all this loser stuff, as Matt so delicately put it, there tends to be outrage whenever there is a strong female character. And it seems like this movie kind of centers a little bit around a strong female character. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of nerd rage
Oh God.
over
He's-
some of that.
These angry, sad little boys can't handle.
Yeah.
You have so many, if you're mad about this, just know that you have so many heroes. You have so many people that you can just watch and idolize and just imagine yourself as in your bedrooms. Just let other stories be told.
Right.
It's,
But
it's okay for that to happen.
To Stacy's point, yes, I really want animation to be used a lot more, because I always think like whenever there is a television series that gets canceled or a sequel that gets put off or postponed or canceled, why not just animate it? Just like Firefly when it went off the air. There's comic books. Either continue it in comic book form or continue it in a animated series. When Buffy went off the air, make it an animated series. Yeah. So
There are a lot of
thank you, Stacey. Good.
there are a lot of fantasy books that we read here in the Lyons household. And who would you cast, if you were to make this movie? And we come back all the time to, well, if this movie were to be made, it would be done best being animated, with the way that fantasy often plays out. Animation is like the freest form of making an accurate story, where people hopefully will not be so mad if so it can follow more closely to the book.
The other bit of news that I wanted to quickly bring up, because I don't believe that it's been 8 months since we last recorded, and I think this news broke in that time, but I have no concept of time anymore. That is, there are new Lord of the Rings movies on the way, being produced.
I'm sorry? What?
New Lord of the Rings films. Andy Serkis is behind The Hunt for Gollum.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The Hunt for Gollum?
Yes.
Okay. All
I
right. This
don't.
is genuinely news to me. I had not heard anything about this.
Yes.
I,
Andy
you know,
Serkis is going to be directing. The
okay.
script is in the works. They don't yet know who will be back or who will be kind of recast. Because personally, I think that as much as I love Sir Ian McKellen's Gandalf, if we're talking about The Hunt for Gollum, which is like within the Lord of the Rings trilogy of, or just, I guess, preceding the Lord of the Rings trilogy of films, it should be somebody else. Recast that. And I know that there's going to be, again, a bunch of, whenever we're dealing with a lot of this loser stuff, there's going to be people that complain about it, like, no, just bring him back. But I don't want to see a de-aged
Oh,
Vigo
yeah.
or a de-aged Sir Ian McKellen.
No.
Mike, you said that loser with like a hard L.
Oh, loser.
That didn't,
Who
that
is
didn't
the
feel.
her?
I agree with both of you. I haven't heard of this, and B,
Um,
don't need it. I don't even know if we need this movie.
yeah.
I don't know if we need it, but I want it. Give it to me.
You do.
It
want
is set. Oh wait, no. Okay.
I feel similarly, or I feel like I don't need it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
that's
want
fine.
to. I'll give it a chance,
Yeah.
but I'm cautiously. I don't know. I'm just cautious about it because, hey, it's if I don't know if the
Peter
ring.
Well,
Jackson is producing it.
It's hard for me
yes.
to get excited more about more prequel stuff. Like we've
Yeah.
already seen the most the exciting chapter of Gollum's life.
Have we, though? Have we?
Story is this?
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. So, I mean, the one
I
thing I will
get.
say about this is that there's always some sort of hesitation whenever Lord of the Rings stuff comes in. And as we see with Rings of Power, all of that criticism falls flat once the final product is made, and everybody loves it. Everybody everybody loves it.
Everybody's here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one other quick bit of news that Stacy brought to my attention, and that is that we did lose. We lost one of our big timers, Hall of Famers in the Lord of the Rings world, and that is King Theoden of Rohan, Mr. Bernard Hill. Or is he
Yeah.
Sir Bernard Hill? Is he Sir?
Let's just make him one because he should be.
Yes.
If he's
Yes,
not.
he should. He's been knighted by us here.
The late
think
great
he's
Sir Bernard Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bummer to happen, for sure. I know Kelly was a big Bernard Hill stan.
Yeah, I feel weird talking about it without her. So maybe when she comes back, we'll have to
Oh yeah, we'll let her give
get her a little
a full-on
tribute, but-
eulogy.
But oh
I
my
don't think we
gosh,
have to. I don't think we have to give her anything. I don't think we have to talk about her or think about her anymore.
we should let her sing Eowyn's song from what's his name's funeral, and then maybe this will get picked up, and she'll win a Grammy for that song.
Yeah. Hopefully Cymbeline doesn't grow on his grave, if that was the name of the flower, the weed, something like that,
Oh my
right?
God, what was the name of Theoden's son? I'm blanking.
Phaedrid.
Theodred. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody.
And one more thing before we actually get to the reason why we're here. Well, I mean, this is the reason why we're here, to connect the fellowship and the Trash Talk Kelly. Just kidding. We got a letter. We got a really nice letter that I would like to read on the air from Audrey. All right. Hi, Beacons crew. I've been listening to your podcast for the past few weeks. It started when I was in Tokyo and continued when I got back home. Anyways, this podcast has definitely made me laugh hard, especially with the Lurch jokes over every episode/movie. Also with Paul McCartney impressions and Saruman University. Plus so much more jokes that would take me hours to list. As I have only just been a Lord of the Rings fan for over a year, when my dad took me to a marathon in April 2023, and since then have been obsessed. Being a 15-year-old, also some podcasts get into all lore and are just straightforward for a lot of the time, and that makes me uninterested. But with your podcast, that makes me so happy. I've recommended it to 2 of my friends already, and they love it! Exclamation points. Thanks for making my cold nights, in parentheses, Australian winter, much happier and cheerful. So excited for your return, in parentheses, Return of the King reference. Lots of love, Audrey.
Wow.
How about that?
Audrey, you are just an angel. That was so nice.
That was you got a great dad. You got a really cool dad. Be grateful.
Real cool dad.
Lord Rings marathon. That's really cool. I feel weird knowing that children listen to this. I don't know what I've said.
I know. I'm going through that. I'm like, what have we talked about?
Yeah,
I think
Matt, you've only talked about being wet and moist and all that stuff. That's fine. That's all.
It's pretty par for the course for you.
Yeah, that's pretty. Pretty mild.
I also love, and I'm a bit jealous, Audrey. Well, let me take a step back. Thank you also for not mentioning in all the things you liked anything that you didn't like, such as our terrible Australian voices that sometimes come out. They sometimes come out of the woodwork as we're talking.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I just watched everything Wolf Creek. Wolf Creek, if you haven't watched it, highly recommend it. Guy is one of the best villains captured on film. Such a great, amazing character. I love it. There's Wolf Creek 1, Wolf Creek 2, and there's a series with 2 seasons, and I friggin' love all of it. It's pretty gross out stuff, but the guy is just so good. Character's name is Mick, but I think the actor's name is like John Jagger or something like that. Character's name is Mick. Last name is like Jagger. Maybe that's something.
I'm gonna have to revisit.
I'm so sorry.
It's really good.
What does it have to do with Audrey?
It's Australian.
Oh, okay.
It takes place at Wolf Creek is Wolf Creek Crater, and he just travels around the Australian countryside and just tortures the shit out of people. And it's fantastic. But yes, Audrey, what I was getting at was that you are in Australia, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump to New Zealand.
Did you just check your map next to
yeah, let me just look over at my
What's right next to
that,
Australia? New Zealand, got it.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is live the life. Go on the tour. Send us some.
You can make the pilgrimage to the Shire and the Hobbiton itself.
The loser mecca.
The loser, you and a bunch of other, just a bunch of mouth breathing, friendly guys that just maybe keep your distance from.
Hey, there are.
Unless Audrey's a boy's name. Audrey could be a boy's name. We don't know. We're assuming gender here.
That's true. I actually have no idea. I never
stay away from those men regardless.
Either way.
Yes. All right. So
they're nice.
Thank you, Audrey, for taking the time to write and dealing with us.
And thank you for your steakhouses. We love the steakhouses.
We love your steaks, mate. Love your steaks, mate.
Tell Australia. Thank you.
That Outback Steakhouse was invented by Americans.
What?
What? Anyway, doesn't matter.
Life is a lie. All right. So Rings of Power. That's where we're at. And if you aren't sure what show you're watching when you watch Rings of Power, don't worry, because they say the title multiple times in the series now. All right. So let's just get.
That's your favorite part, though, right? You love the title.
If they say a title, it's a great program. It's perfect.
That's how you know you're watching good stuff.
Good quality stuff. I bet Albie's mentioned Albie's Elevator many times.
Yes. Stacey, we've and Matt, we know that I feel like I'm the apologist for this series of the fellowship members. I'm the one who probably enjoys it the most. But I'm curious for the two of you, what are your first impressions of season 2 without getting into too much detail, because we're gonna get into some detail. I don't know how much because we're covering 3 episodes, but what do you got? How you feeling, Stacy?
I have to say, maybe it's just time that makes the heart grow softer. Maybe it's the fact that life just beats you down year after year as you get older and things matter less. But I came into this, started watching, and I was like, I feel like I might have been too mean about season 1. I do feel that way now. And I have
Okay,
not
that's good.
rewatched it, so I don't know if that is valid or not. I might rewatch it and be like, no, I was fine. But I did come into this with a much more open mind. I think it helps that it is removed from the external drama of, the Writers Guild, everything that was going down in 2022,
Yeah.
like all the strikes, all like how big budget it was and how kind of weird Amazon was being about it. Like, I didn't love the whole guessing game of season 1 and the wondering. I don't like it. And I kind of felt like watching the beginning of this where we go through Sauron's story was so good, and I liked that part so much, and I just can't help but wonder what the show would have been like for me personally if season 1 we knew that right up front and we're just watching the characters be duped by him, and we're watching like all of his stuff unfold without having to be like, who's Halbrand, like who's Sauron. So
Yeah.
I do wonder if that could have been done differently and if I would have liked it more. But that being said, I came into this and I thought it started really, really strong up top. I really like the Sauron stuff. I don't know why. Maybe I just love Charlie Vickers so much.
Yeah, it's very clear that you are Charlie Vickers from
I didn't even hear anything they said. I was just staring at the screen. No, I loved seeing that. I
He's
really
a good
did.
looking Dark Lord.
He's
He's a baddie.
Australian maybe.
Australia might.
He's Australian,
Hey, Audrey, thanks for Charlie Vickers.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank you.
for
From Stacy.
yes. So that's kind of where I came into it in the opening.
Okay. Matt, how you feeling?
Worse than ever. Just
Hey, you.
no, I do think that this season is thus far, and I'm about 4.5 episodes in. I'm enjoying it more than the first season, but we all know, or those who listened to the first season, and you all, Mike and Stacey, that that's not saying much for me, given my opinion of the first season. So I think it's better than the first season, but that also just might be because my just expectations are I know what this show is now, and I'm like, I can be of two minds about it. I can be really hard on it like 1 second, and I can like literally find like moral reasons to stop watching this show like immediately. And then I can also just be like, it's fine. Like at the end of the day, like it's a serviceable TV show. And I think if I just like think of it as like, no, this is TV. This can never be the movies, right? This can never be the trilogy, just by being a completely different format, and a format that I think, at least the way they're running prestige television now, uh, can't measure up to the greatness of the movie trilogies. So, if I take it for what it is, and I divorce myself of my love. But if if I'm watching it and then I'm remembering, that's the thing that gets me about the show. It's why I constantly waver back and forth. It's because whenever there's like orc stuff on screen, I'm like, fuck yeah. I'm watching Lord of the Rings. This is great. I've got guys in like awesome prosthetic makeup. All the sets look great. The set dressing, the costumes are all spot on, and the orc score music is better than any other the score anywhere else in the show. And then you know, uh, then the show will just go on being itself, and I'll be like, why are they doing this? Why are they dragging this out? Why were these decisions made and stuff? So it's like it psychs me out because I'm like, I'm watching Lord of the Rings movie, and then it's like, no, I'm not. This is something else, and I feel conflicted about it.
Yeah,
So.
sure. Yeah, I think I can see both of those points of view. I still thoroughly enjoy it. I do think that there are some "why are you doing this" moves, and then the pace is moving quite quickly, even for a condensed timeline of thousands of years, which of course they have to do. That's totally expected. But there are still some things where I thought that like we're making all the rings. Like all the rings are getting made. You get a ring. You get a ring. You get a ring. Are all happening quite quickly. So that's something that I thought was a little unexpected because it's supposed to be 5 seasons. I thought that
Really?
we make the elves in season 1, maybe we get the dwarf rings, but now it seems like there's just all the rings. And then what are seasons 3 through 5, which they've already been renewed. That should have been in news from the mark. They have been renewed, so we got some job security for season 3. But I'm enjoying it. I do think that some of the stuff is pretty cringy when yes, I do love a good saying of the title, but there's one point I can't remember if it's in the first 3 episodes, but they do say like, "You are the Lord of the Rings."
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, who's this fucking for? Like,
these
hollering at their TV, like, that's the name of the trilogy.
Yeah, who would ever like cheer for that? That's like right, guys. Like that would be so.
Stacey, you've added yourself.
So
they're making
stupid,
it for
right?
No, it's just some fun. I mean, it's fun. But it's super. It's borderline. It's cringy for me, but I think it's like borderline. Like they know what they're doing. It's not like they're putting. I don't think they're putting this in a. They can't be putting. Let me put it this way: they can't be putting this in thinking like, "Oh man, this is gonna hit." I think it's gonna be like just the tongue-in-cheek, goofy kind of thing. I want to think that's how they're going, but I don't read it that way.
I kind of feel like this show takes itself way too seriously to
At times,
have a tongue-in-cheek moment. Yeah, I really do, and so I think it's meant to be like epic.
I think so. Like doesn't like the music swell and it's like the end of the episode maybe, like, or at least the end of the scene.
Yeah.
And he
like,
looks at the camera when he says it.
Yeah.
And a wink. Ding.
I feel like every episode ending of this show in this season and last season have all been like these moments that are like striving for like everybody to be like, holy shit. And I'd say 9 times out of 10, I'm like a big stinking who cares? I don't like
that
what?
For me. They keep because there's so much going on, and there's like 4 or 5 different locations that we're following now. I feel like they keep ending the specific storylines with those big endings, and I think it's the end of the episode, and then we cut away and we're in a new place, and then we're gonna end that big too. And so there's like this rise and fall that is jarring to say the least, and it reminds you that like it does remind you that it's not the trilogy, because those movies just stuck with this one thing for the whole movie. Like there was jumping back and forth, but it wasn't so many different storylines. It's just like, this all feels like so disconnected, and I keep forgetting like who's in play, and so it's a little, the pacing is weird. It is choppy. It's tough. Sometimes.
There'll be scenes where characters will have a conversation and they end the scene with them being conflicted and having 2 different opinions on it, and then they'll like cut to them just talking about it again and then like resolving the issue. Like, so we just had literally back-to-back scenes being like, here's the conflict and here's that immediate resolution. Like Elrond, this isn't an exact example of that, but in its essence it is, when Elrond jumps off that waterfall fugitive style. And like, oh, cool. Then 2 minutes later, they like by the end of the episode, they've like found him. like 10 minutes, like it's all cut up, and he's just back with everyone now. I'm like, oh, so that wasn't like a good escape at all, really. He was like they found him moments later.
Mm-hmm. They were like, where could he be? And Galadriel's like, I know exactly where he's at.
Yeah.
They just kind of like pop down to the river, and he's just getting out, soaking wet.
Oh man, you got me. You got me, John.
Oh, You've got me. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be.
I'm cool. Yeah.
Oh my
The jig
God.
is up. Yeah. So what I want to do with this is talk about the different storylines, kind of separate. There's going to be some crossover, but first I want to go back to the beginning, and that is the prologue, which led us up to the meeting of Galadriel in the sea, which is the betrayal of Sauron, with Adar and Morgoth's crown. So how did you feel about all that?
Did you mean Sludgeron or
Sludge Ron.
Sauron? Sludgeron?
Sludge Nice, Stacy.
Sludgeron? Oh,
Uh,
yes.
Sludge Ron was silly, but I was like, and because it's the guy from Slow Horses, I think, is playing the Sauron, I guess, right? Who gets killed. And I was like, oh, this guy's kind of good. I think he's from Slow Horses. I was like, cool. I guess he's in this show now. And then he got killed. They like Emilio Estevez in Mission Impossible to me. I was surprised. And then I was like, where's this going? And then he turned into Charlie Vickers, and I was confused. And then we ended up right where we, like, right back at season 1. And I was like, why did we do this? But I see the value in it now, but it was confusing at first.
That was almost its own, like, season. That could have been its own season. All of that stuff.
Yeah.
Agree.
Stacey?
I had an extended panic attack when I thought they had recast Charlie Vickers as this new Sauron, and so I spent a lot of that in opening scene because I know they had recast Adar, and so I was like, did they recast him? And I missed the news, so I spent quite a bit of that opening scene Googling if they did. And then I was like reading as it was happening that like they had, shape shifting Sauron. So there was a different actor. And so I should have been more patient, is what I was saying, but I was too nervous. And then once I got past that and Charlie Vickers came back on the screen, I felt better.
Like 5 minutes.
It was literally like less than 5 minutes.
He's on the dashboard for the show. It's like him form, like scowling at the camera. And
I was stressing, and then I was fine, and so maybe that's why I loved it so much, is because it really quelled my fears. I very much enjoyed it because you hear so often that like Sauron was a shapeshifter. Sauron, was a mind
everybody's
bender.
talking about so
Everyone has been talking about Sauron all the time, and I finally got to see it with mine own eyes. So imagine how tense you would be all of season 1, knowing what you knew, and watching Galadriel like make these. I would have loved it.
I was going to say that yes, Sauron is a shapeshifter. Can be anyone, anything, has a type. He's got a type.
He's gonna choose devastatingly handsome every time.
Young,
blonde,
pretty boys.
elfy, devastatingly handsome. Yeah.
The pony boys.
Now he was also it was a very Voldemortian way in which they did this, because he's killed and then he's this formless formless black goo, all this venomy symbiote, and he kind of attaches himself to the wheel, and then he just has to, I guess, feast on flesh in order to because we see him kind of just grabbing some worms and birds and shit. Rats.
But isn't that so like Gollum-esque, like living in the cave eating live rats? Like, isn't that kind of a cool? It was kind of a cool vibe that they had going on there, a little parallel.
Yeah.
I wish they had leaned more into the horror, like quality of it, and just like shot that creature less, like Jaws style. Like, show me just a little bit of primordial Sauron, like, because the more they showed me, I was like, what? It just looks worse.
It looks like flubber.
What's going on? What am I looking at?
I do agree with that.
But yeah, it would have been cool. And like you get a moment of the guy being scared out on the wagon and draw out that tension, and then he gets seized, and then just rely less on the or rely more on the unseen and less on just CG goop, which I guess
I was good with the goop. I was fine with the goop.
It wasn't terrible.
No, I wanted to see like what happens with Sauron. Now I did like they kill him and then kind of just breaks the sound barrier. His I guess his presence escaping. I thought that was cool. But yeah. And what is their motivation? Well, I guess their motivation was him being like, a lot of you are going to be dead.
But that, Lord Farquaad, that is a price I am willing to pay.
Yeah. A lot of you will be tortured to death. Yeah. Wolf Creek style.
Let's call it what it is. You're my sacrifice. Yeah, and Adar was running on the opposite ticket, which is workers' rights, labor unions. And that's why he's Daddy Adar.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Dadar,
Daddy.
as you've said. Dadar.
Until just a second ago.
Dadar.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry,
Mike. You're freezing up on me again.
Sorry.
What was I saying? Oh, I like Daddy Adar old and new. I like Dadar season 1, and I'm liking Dadar season 2 as well. I forgot what he looked like in season 1 until just 3 seconds ago, and I looked it up. And I was like, oh yeah, that guy was good.
He looks very similar. Very similar now, and I was very disappointed. I think we were all very disappointed in the text thread when they recast him, and I thought it worked very well for a cast change. And I'm glad they brought in, because I never really knew what Adar was up to in season 1. And, he's telling Galadriel, like, I killed Sauron. And you're like, you liar. But now we know he did kill Sauron.
Mm-hmm.
Just not all the way.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Yeah, he wasn't dead.
Not to 50.
No, he wasn't dead. Okay, let's go to Khazad-dûm. How you feeling about Khazad-dûm?
I love I don't know the name though, so it's like this is a problem. Who's the main dwarf?
Durin?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess Prince Durin, right? And then there's King Durin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Durin the 4th and Durin the 3rd, I believe they are.
I like them both. I think the whole Durin clan is great. I think these are some of my favorite performances in it. Disa's great.
Yes.
I love the actor who plays King Durin. I forget what else I've seen him in. I think he's an Australian actor, maybe New Zealand, but he's been in some Australian crime movie that's really good. I don't remember what the name of it is.
Wolf Creek.
Great. Was it Wolf Creek? Yeah. What's going on there? What is going on there, Mike?
Well, last we saw Durin and Durin, who will fight for your Social Security and every dollar you deserve. The law firm of Durin and Durin. They are not on good terms right now. And we're seeing how that's kind of playing out because he's not doing the princely things. He's not kind of the heir, I guess, at the moment. So he's doing things on his own. Like he's like, gotta get a job. I gotta go to the market, I guess. And you see him trying to weigh meats and
there's that scene where like he's like coming home from work and like having dinner and like Disa's like feeding him, and I'm like, this is just a family sitcom.
So things aren't going great. We're seeing that the eruption of Mount Doom has caused some aftershocks throughout the Southlands, and it has closed the windows of Khazad-dûm. So first of all, I want to say that is beautiful. I know that the show gets a lot of shit for how they handle some of the lore and whatnot, but I think personally, I think that they're doing an amazing job. Like, it is a visually beautiful show. I think that the mix, the blend of real locations and CGI, I think is done overall pretty damn well. And Khazad-dûm, seeing how that was at its peak versus how we see it in the films, in the Lord of the Rings films, I think is pretty cool. So we're seeing the fall of Khazad-dûm, and what it looked like, and it was pretty great. So the eruption caused the windows to close. Sun's not coming through, and the stone singers, I believe that's what they're called, something like that, they lost their mojo. They lost their mojo, baby. It's not happening. It's not happening for
Can't
them.
hear the mountain anymore.
We can't hear it. We can't hear to be able to sing.
I heard you needed stone singers.
Kelly,
I heard you needed a couple of 4 stone singers. We're here for you.
Yeah.
Kelly should be here with all these voices. I shouldn't be here. Kelly should be here.
That's great. So they're still not on great terms. And also in full swing is the new Forge that was supposed to take a really long time, but it just took the production time between the first season and the second season to get done. And they're like, all right, we got the elves rings done. How about the dwarves? The dwarves are going to need some rings. So they, I think it's Halbrand, sends word to Khazad-dûm, to Prince Durin, and he goes, and Durin right away is really suspect. He thinks they're really sus. That these rings and Halbrand are not quite on the up and up.
Right. Well, and dwarves don't trust elves in general.
In general, yeah, as a general rule.
As a general rule. Yeah, I agree with you, not Durin. Khazad-dûm is very cool looking. I love the mirror system of how they light the caverns, and when all the lights went out, it was kind of like a little bit of an oh shit moment. I was like, oh, how are they gonna turn the lights back on?
Yeah, I mean, we spend so much time talking about the elves' plight and why they need these rings. And like the spirit of the Valinor is fading, and we have to get we have to use it, and it's like such a conundrum there. But Khazad-dûm to me is like so much more compelling of a conundrum, because it literally feels like a Titanic moment. Like, we are on a sinking ship. If they don't get those windows back, if they don't get saved soon, like, they're not going to have food. Like, they're like doomed. And like, the elves can leave Middle Earth, but the dwarves cannot. Yeah. So I wish like the tension, like, to me it felt so tense and so like treacherous and so like doomed. I wish we spent more time on that, because I felt like it wasn't given quite the time that it might have deserved. At the same time, like, that it definitely came through. And like, you also have to keep in your mind too, like, the Balrog has been awakened. Like, these people are in so much trouble. So
you are talking about it though, like, you feel that tension, like, you actually watching it and you feel that tension playing out. Like,
I felt it cerebrally, like, I understand that this is happening, but I would have liked, I mean, I think also because I love Khazad-dûm so much, like, I would have liked more time there than watching, like, the elves struggle so much, like, with their stuff. But I understand, like, there's only so much time. And yeah, and all the Durin stuff, him having to go to his father, they just have the most compelling dialogue and the most emotional and real scenes between real relationships. I feel like all these people have been related and know each other, and it's just so much emotion comes through every time they're acting together. I just really, really liked this stuff. I would have liked more. And I think more could have served it a little bit better. And I don't say that about a lot of stuff in this show.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's kind of where we left things, right? He went to Eregion, and he wants to take that news back to his dad, because he still wants to get on good terms. He probably misses not working in mines, not busting up rocks. So yeah, probably.
Well, wasn't it Disa who was like? Well, Durin was immediately skeptical, because he's like, Elrond this Anatar guy is talking out of one side of his mouth. I don't think that this is coming from Elrond, because Elrond wouldn't have said these nice things about me, which is so funny.
Right?
That's such a funny thing to say. And then Dees is like, look, this could save our people. If you don't tell your dad about it, I will. And he's like, all right, it's got to come from me. So then he had to go and like apologize and bring it to his dad, do what he's going to do, you know, to save his people. And you can't even be that mad about it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to I can't remember the name of the settlement that Isildur went to. But let's go there. So at the end of last season, we saw the horse Beric get sent away, and then we see that horse finds Isildur, and he finds him in a cave full of spideys.
I'm wondering why spiders. I feel like whenever we, you know, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, whenever we have these epic fantasy things, it's always spiders. Throw a scorpion at me. Give me a beetle. Give me a beetle with some pincers. I don't know why it's always spiders. And I feel like spiders are, and I think it's because they have webs. I was thinking that because webs are so sticky and ominous. I want termites. I want giant termites. I want something else. I want a different kind of bug.
Termites aren't as scary as spiders.
They could be. They could be.
I don't think so. I think look at a spider and look at a termite. One is scarier than the other.
Well, termites bite. They eat wood. That's crazy, Matt.
Yeah.
Just don't carry any wood.
Termites don't kill me if they bite me.
They could, though, is what I'm saying. If you had giant termites with those wood-eating pincers, do you think you're stronger than wood? No. You would get torn through.
A giant termite? Like a giant ant? Like, okay, sure. All right, you're sure. I guess, fine, Stacey, you win.
You know what, Matt? You know what? We're going to take this off mic real quick.
It should have been termites, and if it were termites, this show, I would have loved this show.
No, like a big beetle or just something. Give me something.
One of the things I saw was it was one post-show recap kind of thing where they were trying to pinpoint around where the Isildur probably was, and it looks as if he is in the area of the pass of Kirithungul, which, as we know, was the home of Shelob. I don't believe that we saw Shelob. We might at some point, but we probably saw a bunch of Shelob's kids.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were gonna, or like ancestors or family, or you know, who knows.
Yeah,
the 23andMe of Shelob. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's kind of like,
give me a new bug.
Shelob is probably like Genghis Khan, where most of the earth has some lineage. Yeah.
Now, did you all remember season 1 very well? Like, yeah, I know who like Isildur is right off the bat, and who Beric is right off the bat. Like,
did I text you guys all, or just Mike when I was like, I forgot Isildur was in the show?
Me too.
100% forgot we went to Numenor.
Me too. And when we went to the Numenor stuff, I still don't know what's going on. I'm like, who are these people? What happened?
They had the least amount of screen time in the first season. It does help that the show is giving recaps of what's important at the top of every episode. That helps.
Yeah, I'd be very lost without it. But yeah, the Numenor stuff, especially. But
they have to do that. It's 2 years in between, which I think I said to Stacey, like, curse the person who said, you know what, to hell with a year in between shows and doing 22 episodes. Let's do 8 episodes every 2 years. Let's do it. I mean, these shows are, you know, a much bigger production than a 3-camera sitcom. But still, give us a little bit more,
I totally
less
agree.
time in between.
And that's another thing that I can get like very frustrated about if I think too hard about it. I'm like, you had 2 years, an infinite amount of money to make a show that's awesome, and to me, I don't know, I get a show that's fine.
And you know what? It's still just a tinge bit too dark. There are some scenes where I think they're doing a better job than other shows at making their dark scenes a little bit. You know me, you know how I get about darkness in movies and TV shows. Light your sets, just light your sets. I think they're trying, and I think it could be a little bit. It could be a little bit brighter for me, just a little bit. Especially in the Sauron, Adar, orc scenes, and in the shipwreck scenes. There was a couple scenes where I was like, too dark.
I watched a good amount of this on my phone. I know it's I
As the director intended.
Yeah, that's the director intended. I don't usually do that with things, or ever really. But I was busy.
I was supposed to be working.
A lot of the scenes, a lot of those dark sequences, I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
So if you're gonna have this much time, make it great.
Yeah, make
remind
it so I can watch it on my phone in the daytime, driving.
While rollerblading around Cooper River.
All right, we got to start plowing through some of this stuff. So the Beric finds Isildur after beating the shit out of some orcs. Like the horse was going to town, roughing up some orcs. Then he finds Isildur, gets him out of the cave. And then Isildur finds, I can't remember the name. It's like Astrid or Esther, something along those lines. And Samsonite.
Estrid.
And excuse me. Then they are saved by Arondir. So there's that, and then they all make their way to the settlement.
Arondir's appearance was cool. He kicked some butt right away. Stacy, I know you had thoughts on his last shot. You want to talk about that for a second?
He came in like a wrecking ball. It was a cool entrance. It was I liked the battle scene. And he turns around
like a wrecking ball.
And he notches his bow and arrow, and you think it's going to be like a Katniss Everdeen, Legolas, some kind of cool Hawkeye shot. And it is literally a man who I'm pretty sure they just yelled action off the screen, and he's lumbering away like 10 feet away.
He could have tripped him.
He literally could have tackled him. He did not need an arrow for this. And
I'm really glad you called that out, because it did I had like that passing thought about it when it happened, and then totally forgot about it. And then you sent that clip of it. I was like, oh my god, he is comically. It does seem like the bad guy's comically close to Arondir.
When the men take off on the horse, I just assume he's gonna Legolas them and just go like bam, 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 hit all three and get the horses back. And instead he turns, and it's the most anticlimactic wild man running, lumbering away I've ever seen. It was so jarring. It was so funny. It was really, really funny. I wasn't even mad about it. It was hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Arondir is going to be so much more interesting this season than he was last season.
I think he for sure already is. I definitely don't care about Theo at all. Still,
the second he started talking, Arondir started. I was like, nope, he's just as boring as he was.
Well, there's
Theo put the torch on his mom's grave and walked away like he had shit in his pants. He's still walking like good old Theo shit pants.
Forgot about
Theo shit pants. Theo shit pants. Yeah, so a couple quick things. The settlement is Pelargir. That's where they're at. Mom's dead. She died in between seasons, unfortunately. They did kind of write it into the show a little bit or the reasoning into the show, that the orc arrows had some poisoning. So she didn't make it. And Theo is blaming Arondir for this. So there's some friction in between them. Also, yeah, I don't care.
Feels like fake TV drama, just have more content for an episode.
Theo literally pulled a "You're not my real dad." Like, okay, like I can't.
Yeah, Yeah.
If I were
Now,
Arondir, I'd be like, fucking good shit pants. See you later.
do we?
Fuck up shit pants. If Arondir had said that, he would have been my favorite character, and instead he was just trying to like bond in like a weird way. I don't think this man's a good. I think he's the weakest actor out of all of them, and I'm not on board with this boring elf.
I did watch one post show where they do talk about the fact that, well, they talk about it. I haven't fact checked this by rewatching every single scene with Theo, which I'm not going to do, to be honest about that. But that his ears are always covered. Now, is that just he doesn't want to get a haircut, or is that blocking elf ears?
I've got a really good answer, and that is I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true. Like if you're gonna cover it, it's gonna be one of those things that's like, show me up front. I don't need to guess. I want to see characters reacting to something that they don't. I want to see the dramatic irony. I need to know. They don't need to know.
It would be super funny if they have this like big reveal where he like brushes his hair aside, and rather than having like elf ears, he just has like no tops to his ears. And just like flat, completely flat ears.
He just has like connected earlobes, like just like a pretty common like thing.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks it's super weird and gross.
Yeah. Or just a whole bunch of piercing all along the top.
He's
Just
got
like
a
30
cardigan.
earrings. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
shit, Theo emo. Who would have guessed?
Yeah. So there are they're at the settlement. His dad, whose name I definitely did not forget, Elendil, is still doesn't know that he's alive, right? He still thinks he's dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Elendil thinks Isildur is dead, and Isildur's friend thinks Isildur is dead. Remember, I liked
Which
his
I
friend.
guess
and
everybody thinks Isildur's dead.
Yeah.
Everyone,
Is how it plays out.
I like Isildur. I think he's good. And Estrid, she's all right.
Yeah.
Is she your Charlie Vickers?
Hey, throw one in for the boys. Am I right?
She is. She's
Sorry.
a babe. Now she's also a baddie. Or is she? Is she blocking off? I was gonna say, is she blocking off the tattoo, the branding, because she has changed her ways, or she's trying to infiltrate? Have they made that clear yet?
Or not even changed her ways. Maybe maybe she had to do it in the way that Sauron had to like bend the knee to Adar. You know what I mean? Like maybe she said what she said. Maybe she's a baddie. Maybe she was in a desperate situation and wanted to survive. Maybe she is changing her ways. We don't know. We don't know anything about her. And you know what? I love that we know that we don't know. You know what I mean? Like if they're just gonna like reveal that 3 episodes from now, but they showed us something, and I appreciate that as an audience member.
Yeah, I think we do. I think in the episodes I watched, I think we do kind of have a better sense of it. But I think this is, you raise a good point, Sadie. I think this is where the show is maybe at its strongest sometimes, and are in these moments where it's like, it's not some fake tension of like, oh, is it going to be this thing that we already know about? Is it going to, like, it's not that dumb prequel shit of like, is this the Shire now? Or is this, Sauron is
this Gandalf? We still don't know.
That stuff is excruciating to me. And I'm like, I know
It's so-
it is.
that's-
Just say it,
yes.
and let's move on to something that I don't know about. And that's what's interesting about Estrid is like, who's this? I think she's just made up for the show. I don't need, and maybe she's deep lore that I don't know about or care about. I'm just like, oh yeah, here's a mysterious figure that I can actually have a sense of like wonder and mystery about.
Yeah, and we get to know she's mysterious, and now we get to watch that play out in real time with these characters. I love that. That is tension to me, not me sitting at home on message boards being like, who do you guys think Sauron is? Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. So just to touch on you raised before, Stacey, about Sauron, and like, oh, if season 1 we already knew that he was Sauron, it would have been a lot better. I tend to agree with you. However, now that we know he is Sauron and he's duping Celebrimbor so easily, and just pulling the wool over everyone's eyes in a way that's like, Celebrimbor, are you like a fucking idiot? Because like I thought elves were supposed to be smart. Maybe we haven't gotten to this plot point yet.
But
But
I don't think it's like all that easy. Like Celebrimbor knew not to trust Halbrand, and he knew not to like let him in, and he did anyway, and he's suspicious of him, and he still won him over despite that. Like I think we're seeing Sauron's cleverness at work.
Yeah, I think
You just think that I love him so much.
I think when it comes to Celebrimbor, Sauron is playing into his ambition and ego, very very well, because he wants to. Celebrimbor wants to do these rings. He wants to surpass or match his master, and he wants to. Of course, he also just wants to save the elves, right? And save Middle Earth. He wants to be that. So yeah, sure. The elves are the fairest and wisest of the beings, but they also have very human flaws.
yeah, yeah. I think maybe just the way it was like written, but sometimes, or it just feels very like Twilight Zoney, like Sauron's the devil, right? And he's like, oh, okay, you didn't, like Sauron's like, oh, okay, you don't want to make the rings. That's cool. I guess you don't care about
Yeah.
me doing it. I'll just do it myself. Oh, what? You're gonna do what?
Mhm.
Hold on. Oh, yeah, yeah, I'll just make them myself. Well, hold on a second. Like it's just so.
Matt, he went into Celebrimbor's mind and reemerged as like an angel from the heavens, dressed in new clothes with new hair. That is
Yeah.
like you would make that man rings also. You would be like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'm all in.
Maybe. Maybe.
Maybe,
I don't.
mayhaps. All right, so we talked about Khazad-dûm. We talked about the prologue. I think I'm cool with the settlement. We're venturing into Eregion. There was the messenger that was sent from Gil-galad from Linden to Eregion saying, "Hey, just a heads up, that guy's Sauron. So don't let him in." you know.
Yeah.
So of course he's in there, and Sauron is making sure that those messages do not get read.
Well, the messenger was killed, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Along the way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. This part of it, this how many rings are getting made, how many deals and conversations are happening between elves and dwarves who have to travel very far to get to one another. Um, and this whole time, Galadriel and Elrond still haven't traveled across. Like Arondir's received messages from Celebrimbor before Galadriel and Elrond have reached where Celebrimbor is.
Mm.
And I'm like, is this timeline making sense to everybody else? Am I just not paying enough attention?
No,
I'm
it's
being wrong here.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be funky because they are condensing thousands of years of history into these stories. Thousands of years of history into these stories where they're trying to follow characters and make sense of things. So I think there's going to be flaws in the timeline. So I'm not too worried, but I do think it is a little bit hard to follow because we didn't even get to Numenor until episode 3.
Yeah.
And it picks up more or less right where we left off.
Right. So that it's almost like, we're almost going back in time sometimes to like Numenor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right. But they don't make that clear in the show at all. So for like all intents and purposes, everything's happening simultaneously or concurrently. But
yeah, I think you just have to separate the timelines in your mind as you watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can do it.
It is confusing, but it's either gonna like end up in the same spot, so I'm not really thinking about it too much.
Yes.
I do want to quickly add that because you know how I love to talk about my queens, my drama queens. I think everything Elrond ever learned was from Gil-galad on how to be just so extra.
That dude's the High King, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
super.
I think he was the precursor, and Elrond was the mentee,
Yeah.
the mentor and the mentee in that relationship. I think
Yeah.
Gil-galad is so dramatic, and I can't even tell you how much I love it. I love it so much.
I find him difficult to look at.
He just sings. I mean, the actor's a Broadway star. He's singing with his beautiful voice. He's just sealing things with a flourish. He's putting on these rings on his one finger that doesn't have a ring. He's just, everything he does is with a little. It's in cursive. Everything is in cursive.
That was really, really funny to me when they show like they put him putting on the ring, and he's got like it's like the Infinity Gauntlet on his of rings on his hands.
He has 9 rings on his hand, and one finger doesn't have a ring. He just picks it up and just
He's like, oh, this one's taken. This one's oh, here we go.
Oh, this one. Oh, shoot! This new ring doesn't. I gotta move some rings around. Hold on.
And who's the other guy? Who's the guy?
Círdan.
Okay. Yeah.
The shipmaster.
Yeah, the shipmaster. I don't know who he is and why he gets a ring. Do you know?
Because I think it seemed like it was all a matter of circumstance, because we have Elrond, who was like, no one's getting him out of here. Poof. And then he's caught immediately, but he takes them to Círdan, who says, if we want to get rid of these, we got to take them to the Mariana Trench equivalent of in Middle Earth. And I also love that he's immediately corrupted. Immediately. I also love like the power of the rings can't get through the fabric. But he puts them in his hand. He's like, oh, I'm done for.
He was so eager to just turn.
Yeah.
But when you're alone at sea, sometimes you hear things.
But him and Galadriel both had like one ring, and it was funny because in the High King, when they all like put their hands together to like, and I was like, this is ridiculous and stuff.
Yeah.
I also have like a weird thing about jewelry in general. Like I don't like a lot of it, and I don't like when it's loose and when they drop the rings and they spill everywhere. Like I was watching, I was like, I'm so grossed out right now. This is just a me thing. This is not a critique of the show. I was just like, I'm so grossed out.
Such an odd pet peeve.
And then they put their hands together, and we see what's his name, Gilgamesh's whole hand, and it's just
Gilgamesh.
He's got those stubby fingers and all those rings, and I did not like it. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, they're all just like 3 sizes too small. He just can't get them off, and his tops of his fingers are turning purple. I think that, as I was saying, I feel like it was a matter of circumstance, because you have that moment where, first of all, they're all standing around like, well, I guess that's it for elves. Bye, guys. And then they all turn and see Círdan. Like,
will you sign my Middle Earth yearbook?
Yeah. And then they all turn, and Círdan comes up with his like prepared speech, like, not just yet, fellas. And perfection has come. Like it's like, it sounds like The Rock. Finally, perfection has come to Linden.
And then he people's elbows the tree, and what?
Is that Círdan's music? Oh my god!
It was, I guess it was circumstance, but also they made 2 very masculine looking rings and one extremely feminine looking ring.
Oh yeah. So, but the way that it happened, the circumstance I'm getting at was that they just kind of fell in front of them. So I just thought it would be funny if it falls into this like no-name elf. It's like, who are you? Like, and just like picks it up, puts it on. You got to give that back. You got to give it. You don't even have a name.
You're not a part of this. Where did you even come from?
You just fell in front of me. I thought that's how it worked.
I'll never give it back. He jumps off the waterfall just like but he dies. He actually does die. Really carefully.
Falls on a rock. Yeah.
Upstream again, and is like, come on.
What else is going on in Linden?
Which one's Lyndon?
Isn't it what the name of the
The
where the elves
where
are?
the tree is.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
right,
well,
right,
that's
right.
a good point.
Oh
They
yeah, they're
put on the
just
rings.
Oh, then there's like
Elrond is so stressed. Elrond's very, very stressed because he's the only one seeing the writing on the wall here. And the other ones are like, I mean, maybe he had an influence on it, but like, we're still powerful and we can fight his influence and like, we should just use this for good. And Elrond has never been more anxious in his life for good reason.
yeah,
Yeah.
he thinks we shouldn't use rings at all, and Gladriel's like we could use it for good. And the who's the guy? God, I forgot his name already. Who's the other guy?
Gil-galad?
Gil-galad.
Gilgalad.
Kiradon?
Kiradon. He's sticking his hand in water and being like, "Look, the fishes obey me."
Yeah. Look, I
this is
can make it
awesome.
kill itself.
The fishes. Look at this power. Look at all this power I have.
Yeah.
Me and my fish.
And then
How does this help us?
the High King doesn't. He doesn't trust. High King doesn't trust Galadriel at all anymore, right? Because she did. Do I not remember? Did Galadriel and Sauron sleep together?
No.
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 I
Right.
wish.
I thought I would have.
No.
No.
But
They
kind of
didn't
talk
do
about
it.
He's like,
they
you-
did,
you-
right? They kind of like keep alluding
Well,
to
he-
like, yeah, but you were
You trusted him.
good.
You let him into your trust heart, and now he'll always be a part of you. And anyone you trust later is going to have a part of him in you, Galadriel. You little trust slut.
Just giving it away to anybody. Yeah.
Anyone that he trusts now is you've trusted.
No, I think that there were moments where they were kind of getting close, and it was a kind of will they or won't they sort of stuff. But no, I don't think that there was any relations going on.
Yeah.
But it's more about him. I don't really like his reasoning too, because she's been saying the whole time she's the one that's been wanting to like, let's kill all the orcs. I know he's still out there. He's somewhere. She just didn't know that he was like right there until Celebrimbor started speaking like Sauron, because we had that moment, I think it was season 1, where Adar says something along the lines of he about Sauron. I don't know. It was like, I killed him because he was obsessed with this whole idea of creating this some sort of power that was, power not of the flesh, but over the flesh. And then Celebrimbor says, as he's talking to it, like, hey, you know what we could do? We could create a power not of the flesh, but over the flesh. And that's when she was like, where have I heard those words? Oh yeah, a couple scenes ago. And then she goes to she starts looking into things, and then she finds out that like he's been lying this whole time. What I don't get is why she just didn't come out and say it, because she says, or Gil-galad says, hey, Elrond says that guy's not who he says he is, so who is he? And she's like, doesn't matter. It's not important.
Doesn't matter, but no one talked to him ever
Yeah.
again. And if you talk to him ever again, you'll be in big trouble. But it doesn't even matter. He's just a guy named Halbrand.
He's dead to us.
That feels like fake, like TV drama writing of just like, well, because it's one of those problems that could be solved if you just dead.
But it was solved very quickly after
But
that.
I also talk about
Because Elrond
Galadriel
figured it
telling
out.
Celebrimbor, right, of like to never trust.
Yeah, but then they use that later as an excuse to be like, look, you're being really shady, Galadriel. Like, I think the point of that was like, she is being shady. She's embarrassed. She has a lot of feelings about this. And that is why they don't trust her to go to Celebrimbor's alone, and why Elrond has to like be in charge of her now. Yeah. So they're basically like stripping her power away because of all the shady shit that she did. So I think that's like,
I get their like how they're trying to make it make emotional or make it make some logical sense, but I'm also like, he's fucking Sauron. Galadriel would probably say like, hey,
she's just a little embarrassed, Matt. Have you never made an embarrassing
like
mistake?
Of years already. She's gonna get past it. Like
look, she trusted him.
It's goddamn Sauron. It's the devil himself, Stacey.
We have all made some decisions that we have been embarrassed about. We've all trusted the wrong men, I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tell you
Mm-hmm.
what.
All right,
I'll
let's
tell
move
you what,
on
we've tried.
Let's move on.
to Numenor. We talked about this just a little bit, but the gist here is that Tar Palantir, who is Muriel's father, has died. Where we have a funeral for him, where someone slaps the shit out of her at the funeral. Total disrespect.
Such bad
And
etiquette.
yeah, and Farazan is angling for power. And Elendil's daughter, Aarion, is the worst. Absolute
Yeah.
horrible. Can't stand her as a character.
Whose daughter is she?
Elendil's, right? Isn't that Isildur's sister? Elendil.
Oh, is it his sister? I totally forgot about all of the relationships.
We're
here.
talking about the girl who
Stole the Palantir.
Yeah. She's the Isildur
Yeah.
sister. And are they
Pretty
both
sure.
the kids of Captain?
Elendil, yes.
Okay, that's
Elendil.
All right, got
Yeah. Elendil. Okay, I forgot that they were. I was wondering. I couldn't remember if they were like lovers or siblings or friends or whatever.
it. No, Muriel has the hots for
No, no. Muriel is the
Aarion.
queen regent. Aarion. Remember Kelly?
Aarion has the hots for Isildur's friend.
Yeah.
And then Farazan's shitty son has the hots for Ariel.
Yeah.
Aarion. Okay, so there's a little. Okay, and Isildur's friend hates that guy.
Yeah, Isildur's friend is like, I'm team Queen Regent all the way. I'm team my boy Isildur. And you, girl, you're clearly team Farazan now, so we're not friends anymore.
Yeah.
You're
which
shady,
is all,
and he wants to fight that other guy. Yeah.
yes,
okay.
which is all what to put that in show terms, what's what's happening is you have you have the faithful, which are faithful to the old laws, the old ways, to friends of the elves, which is Elendil, and now Muriel, and Isildur, and Volantis. I can't remember his name. Begins with a V. Voltron, something along those lines. And then they're against the the Farazan team, which is the MAGA crowd, MAGA crowd, more or less. And they are anti-elves, and they don't want anything to do with it. So they're finding ways to get rid of the faithful in power. Now it is a coup, because it's a monarchy that they have. So the Tar Palantir is dead, so it should be Muriel that takes the crown, because you even have the coronation talk, and they have that Farazan was like, it said that if an eagle were to show up, it's pretty cool. And yeah. So then I believe it's episode 3 where an eagle does show up at the coronation, but it's after Aarion reveals the Palantir, the dark arts that she's been kind of looking into. And then the eagle shows up, all confused, because Farazan's like right there, and I'm pretty sure the eagle was like, "Is this why I'm here? Is this the guy? Is this who it is?" Laying out some eagle food.
You owe me. Yeah.
I kept waiting for the eagle to be like, "No, I'm not here for you, Farazan. I'm here for Queen Regent."
Takes his big wing and pushes him aside. Pardon me.
This was one of those scenes that like seemed so epic, because like everyone was chanting and an enormous eagle was there and someone's about to be crowned, and then the episode kept going. And I was like, it wasn't the end of the episode.
It didn't end.
Yeah, it got to the next season. I was like, well, big, who cares about that? I was like, who are these people? I do like Farazan, though. I think that guy's got a cool look. I think he's a good, like, bad guy. He's one of the few people in the show that, like, doesn't have a wig and is, like, older. And he's got, like, great, like, just grayed hair. And he's got that.
You don't think that's a wig?
He's got the.
You don't think that's a wig?
I don't think so.
It's salt and
Maybe
pepper
it is
going on.
great fucking wig work.
I think it's a wig.
He's got like hairy eyebrows that like twist up.
Mhm.
He's very villainous looking. I think it's splendid casting. I think he's kind of fun. Everyone else in
Yeah,
this storyline, I don't care about at all.
yeah. It's a great salt and pepper look that he's got going on. Um,
Yeah,
any other thoughts?
this is another part of the show where I feel like I really would be into all this drama. I feel like it has like my name written all over it, all these like love triangles and loyalties and stuff. And I just because they introduced it so late and we spend the least amount of time on it and it moves as quickly as it does, I feel like I keep forgetting what's going on. And I'm bummed by that. I wish I had not like again not more time with this but maybe a little bit more care in the story.
Yeah, yeah. I have no more time to give this. I just hope that the time that
Yeah,
I did give it was better spent.
I totally
Um,
yes.
You
all
might
right,
be
so
right.
let's.
Like a wig, but
I think
it's a good wig.
It's well done. It's well done. All right, let's go to the stranger and Nori and Poppy, who are they're
Poppy.
wandering through the desert, lost, and then Poppy shows up and says that the key to getting through this is the walking song. So they do that. They find their way. There's the moments where they notice that they're being tracked, and we have a moment like we have in the Mines of Moria with um, Pippin and the well, knocking
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
armor down, but she's doing with the water. It's just like bing, 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 bing. We're over here. Come kill us. Um, and the stranger we're seeing throughout these first three episodes does not have a grasp on. First of all, he's grasping the language extremely well.
Yeah.
Like that has come a very, very, very long way. But when it comes to his powers, not so much. We see him blow up the
Duolingo.
yeah, yeah, hooked on phonics. We see him blow up the tree when he's trying to get some food for them, but it end up, in a roundabout way, it does kind of work because there's a bunch of bugs. And then we see some pretty big fireworks. He does that big tornado sort of thing, but it kind of grows out of control, and sends the other ones away.
Yeah. This part of the show, this storyline, I think has the most cringe stuff for me in it. A lot of the lines Nori has feel like they're really striving to make some great kind of like Lord of the Rings, like not all who wander are lost kind of lines like that.
Yeah.
When you hear your name, your heart glows or something. Like,
Yeah.
shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
None of it feels earned to me
No.
at all. And the wigs this time around, speaking of wigs, the wigs on Nori and Poppy are like killing me. They just look absolute in the desert environment, they look absolutely ridiculous. It feels very well, actually we didn't get to that spot yet, so I'll save that for the next episode. But nothing all that super interesting to me is happening in this part of the world in these episodes.
Well, there's the dark wizard.
Oh yeah,
So
okay. Yeah,
there's the dark wizard that we have. Remember, we had the three beings, the three magic people, who then show up to report back, and he's not happy with them because they got their asses handed to them, and he disintegrates them, or they've disintegrated, and he re-disintegrates them, reforms them, and just to get the intel, and sees that we about the Maiar is there, and then we have which we still don't know which one he is, right? We're not positive if he's Gandalf or a blue wizard or something else entirely.
But I have a feeling someone's going to say his name at some point, and he's going to be really pumped about it.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be Mithrandir.
Yeah, and you're right. And he's probably gonna he's looking for his staff. That's what he's up to, but he doesn't know. Right.
This has now been a season and almost a half, and we don't have a lot of good information about the storyline. And when they were all together and all the Harfords were together, it had all this charm and all this Shire-like quality, and it was just lovely. And now that it's separated from that, is or what these people want with him or where they're going or what their journey, like I feel like it's lost all the charm and like everything that made it so eager and compelling in season one. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to be enjoying this part so much more than I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
tend to agree with that. Yeah.
Uh,
The Dark Wizard guy, whoever plays that guy, I love that actor. I was happy to see him, and I'm excited to hopefully see more.
you know who that is? I'm pretty sure I'm thinking it's the same person. But it's Mance Rayder, who was the king in the King Beyond the Wall. King of the Wildlings in
Yes.
Game of Thrones.
Ciaran Hinds. I'm not sure how to say his name.
Kieran.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great. Yeah, great in Game of Thrones. Munich. It's great in Munich.
Also, The Terror on AMC.
Cool
Also, the Troll King in Disney's Frozen and Frozen 2.
How about that? Let's just rattle him off. He's got a bunch of bangers. All right. Have we gotten to in the first 3 episodes the not the Harfoots, but the Noors or whatever they're called?
The guys with the masks.
No, the other hobbits.
That hasn't happened yet.
No.
Okay. So we'll save that then for when it's appropriate. All right. Any other thoughts? If we missed anything, so what? Well, I mean, we're gonna do 4, 5, and 6 in the next episode, so we can pick it up there. But this one's getting a little lengthy. So any other thoughts then?
I got no more.
No
more.
Okay.
Great to be back.
It was actually very nice to be back.
It is. It's fun. Yeah. All right. Well, then we will be back with covering episodes 4, 5, and 6. And then the plan is to then cover either episode 7 and 8 together or episode 7 and then episode 8. That's the plan. We see how our planning goes. But that is the plan right now. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Kelly from afar. Thank you, Audrey, for the message. And thank you all for listening. Bye.
Bye.